For most of us, the word funeral brings a fairly familiar picture to mind. A hearse, mourners in black, a church or crematorium, a wake. And for many families, that traditional format still brings real comfort and closure. But more and more people across the UK are starting to ask, does this have to be the only way? The answer is no. There are now more options available to families than ever before, and in this video, we're going to walk through some of them. Whether you're planning ahead for yourself or thinking about how to honor someone you love, we hope this gives you some ideas, some inspiration, and a little more freedom to choose something that truly feels right. Let's start at the beginning. What does a modern funeral actually look like? Modern funerals represent a move away from fixed customs and religious tradition towards something more personal, flexible, and reflective of the individual. The idea isn't to do less, it's to do something meaningful. For some, that means a joyful celebration filled with the person's favorite music and food. For others, it means skipping a formal service altogether and gathering in a favorite place at a later date. Non-religious services are becoming increasingly common, offering a neutral, inclusive space that feels comfortable for everyone, regardless of background or belief. What defines a modern funeral isn't the format, it's the intention. It's a farewell that reflects who someone actually was, their passions, their values, their humor, the way they made people feel. That might look completely different from family to family, and that's exactly the point. So what are the actual alternatives to a traditional funeral? Let's look at the full picture. The range of options available in the UK today is wider than most people realize. Here's a straightforward overview. Direct cremation is a simple, unattended cremation without a formal service. The most affordable option, and increasingly popular, as a starting point for families who want to plan a separate celebration in their own time. A celebration of life is a more informal, non-traditional gathering that can take place before or after cremation, in a garden, a pub, a park, or anywhere that feels right. There are no fixed rules. A DIY or home funeral is entirely legal in the UK. Families can take on much of the organisation themselves, often with minimal professional involvement, giving them complete control over every detail. Body donation to medical science is a selfless, cost-free alternative that some people feel aligns with their values and contributes something lasting. Virtual or online memorials allow friends and family to gather remotely, particularly meaningful for those with loved ones living abroad or across the country. A living funeral is a gathering that takes place while someone is still alive, giving them the rare and moving opportunity to hear tributes, share memories, and say goodbye on their own terms. All funerals must meet certain legal requirements. A death certificate is always needed, along with relevant cremation or burial paperwork. But within those requirements, there's significant freedom to choose. Now let's look at some of the more creative and personal ways families in the UK are saying goodbye. One of the most freeing things about moving away from a traditional funeral is the sheer range of memorial ideas that open up. Personalised ceremonies are increasingly popular, built around the person's interests, hobbies, and personality. A football fan remembered with shirts and scarves, a gardener honoured at their allotment, a music lover given a send-off with live performance and dancing. For those with environmental values, more eco-friendly options like woodland ceremonies and water cremation or aquamation are growing. Memorials don't have to be expensive to be meaningful. Some of the most powerful tributes are the simplest: a family meal at a favourite restaurant, a walk in a place they loved, a gathering of people telling stories. Small, thoughtful keepsakes, a candle, a handwritten letter, a photo collage can last for years. The memorial can also happen whenever the family is ready. There's no rule that says it has to be within days of a death. Weeks or months later, when emotions have settled and people can travel, can often feel more right. Building on that, let's talk about end-of-life celebrations specifically and what they can look like. An end-of-life celebration is a gathering centered on remembering a life, not mourning a loss. It can replace a traditional funeral entirely or happen separately alongside a simple cremation. The beauty of this format is its flexibility. There's no fixed venue, no fixed timing, no fixed dress code. It can be as traditional or as unconventional as the family wishes. For those who want something more formal, personal touches can still transform the occasion. A non-traditional hearse, a personalised coffin, a meaningful location. For those who want something completely different, the options are wide open. Some ideas that families have found meaningful gathering around a memory collage, incorporating a loved one's ashes into keepsakes or an ash scattering ceremony, recreating a favorite recipe together, or simply doing something the person loved, watching their favorite film, visiting their favorite place, planting something in their name. Timing is entirely flexible. Some families hold an end-of-life celebration within days. Others wait months to allow distant friends and relatives to attend, or to wait until they feel emotionally ready. What if you want to take on more of the organizing yourselves? That's where DIY funerals come in. A DIY funeral is exactly what it sounds like. A funeral where the family takes on much of the organization themselves, rather than handing everything over to a funeral director. With a DIY funeral, families can arrange the transport of a loved one, personalize every element of a service, and hold a gathering in a private space, all within the relevant legal requirements around paperwork and cremation or burial. DIY doesn't mean doing everything alone. Many families combine some professional support, for the cremation itself, for example, with a self-organized celebration. This can significantly reduce costs while keeping the experience personal and meaningful. Common DIY elements include hand decorating a coffin, making funeral flowers at home, writing and delivering a eulogy, choosing all music personally, organizing a gathering at home or in an outdoor space, and creating a memory display or tribute table. The process of organizing a DIY element can itself be part of the grieving, a way of channeling love and attention into something tangible at a time when there's little else to do but feel the loss. And what if you don't want to wait until after you're gone? There's an option for that too. It's a concept that's growing in popularity, particularly among those who have received a terminal diagnosis and want to shape their own farewell. But it doesn't have to be tied to illness. Some people simply choose it as a celebration of a life well lived, a milestone birthday, or a meaningful chapter coming to a close. For those in attendance, it offers something a traditional funeral can't: the chance to say what they feel while the person can still hear it. For the person being celebrated, it can be profoundly moving. A chance to feel the love and impact they've had on the people around them. A living funeral can take any form: a quiet gathering at home, a themed event, a shared meal, or a joyful party. It pairs naturally with a direct cremation. With the practical elements taken care of simply, it leaves families free to mark the occasion however feels right. Finally, let's bring it all together. What does alternative really mean when it comes to funerals today? For families who've chosen direct cremation, a celebration of life can happen whenever the timing feels right. That might be days after a death or months later. There's no rule. Some families incorporate ashes into the gathering itself, a scattering ceremony, a keepsake, or simply having them present. The most meaningful celebrations of life aren't necessarily the most elaborate ones. Sometimes it's a simple gathering in a familiar place, doing something the person loved, with the people who loved them. That's enough. That's more than enough. Alternative funerals aren't a fringe choice anymore. They represent a growing shift in how people across the UK think about death, remembrance, and legacy. What unites all of these ideas is the same thing: a desire for a farewell that actually feels like the person. One that tells their story, reflects their values, and gives the people they've left behind something to hold on to. Whatever alternative feels right for you or your family, Aura exists to help make that possible without judgment or pressure. For those planning ahead, Aura's prepaid funeral plans start from £1,695, are FCA regulated, held in an independent trust, and can be spread over monthly instalments. For attended plans, you can choose from any crematorium in mainland Great Britain. There are no hidden fees and free lifetime cancellation. Whether you want the simplest possible send-off or a personalised farewell that celebrates everything about a life, Aura is here to help. Saying goodbye is one of the most personal things we ever do. It deserves to feel that way. Whether you choose a simple, quiet cremation or a joyful celebration that fills a room with music and stories and laughter, there's no wrong answer. What matters is that it's true to the person and true to the people who loved them. If you'd like to explore your options in your own time with no pressure, visit aura.life.